What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 11 of the Magnificent 21. I'm your host, Delthius. How's it going, everybody? I'm doing well. We are going to kick things off tonight for week 2 with a variety of live game matches here. I actually need to update this because Nicolaccio here gets a head start. And yeah, then I can change that to their faction color. Okay, so week 1 finished up. One thing I wanted to note, I know a lot of people kind of catch the show like due to VODs and stuff like that, or you might not be following super close. I updated the Tooth and Tail events section, guys, underneath the stream right now. There you can find the Discord link to the Magnificent 21 events, and you can also find links to all the other great streamers that have been covering the event. There's so many matches here, and it's super awesome. We've got a variety of streamers nowadays to get as much coverage on Twitch as possible. We've got links down there to Nicolaccio, to Tosh, to Boomer, to Tiki Gray, to catch up on all the other episodes that are going on, and keep your eye on those channels as well. Give those a follow to stay up to date on when we go live for events and matches. But yeah, gonna do a little bit of a week 1 summary here. Not gonna delay the game too much. Let me just do this and that real quick. There we go. So you can find this in the Discord. It'd probably be quicker. I'm obviously not going to go through every one of these, but the gentleman's doing a great job in keeping very detailed track of all the various matches. You can even find which episode and which streamer that match happened with. But this is kind of what I wanted to brush over here before we get started. So at the end of week 1, the Owl Tribe is in the lead, followed by my team, the Kasha Agency. Coming up in 3rd place is the Badger Brothers. 4th place, the Wolf Company. And finally, in the rear for now, we've got the Boartown Militia. So pretty neck and neck, to be honest. I mean, a lot of these scores are very close to one another. Besides the Owl Tribe, so far they've been doing a really good job. Maybe the week 1 bans really helped them out, or they had some good games. But yeah, so this week we've got Moles and Barbed Wire Band. And Nicolaccio does get to start off with a little bit of a head start in this series. It is a best of 5 series. But Nicolaccio is going to start 2-0. And let me go ahead and tell the players we are ready. And they should be checking up here shortly once they get the memo. I am on a little bit of a delay. Not a huge one, but I prefer to use a delay when we are doing live matches, just so nobody can be sneaky and try to look at somebody else's comp. Look, I already had the colors right. Bam. Okay, cool. And Nicolaccio is representing the Owl team, and he is attacking into Kalaru. So let's get this going. Spam them foxes in chat. What's going on, everybody? Hot Tea, Isaac, Verdelay, of course, Premium Bow, Fleur de Lis, Stoker. Good to see you all. I am really excited, man. This has been a lot of fun so far. I've been really enjoying this event. Over on the left side, we've got Nicolaccio, and over on the top right, or I guess right, just in general, Kalaru. You know, I was thinking about trying this out because there's no moles this week, right? And of course, when you play with Fox, the Fox likes turrets. Can kind of help put something up on the front lines that gives the Fox a safe spot to poke and prod and run back to. However, in the modern meta, you know, moles are just so strong against structures. It's really difficult to get that turret strategy up and running. But Kalaru is going to give it a shot this time around. Even adding in those ferrets, and of course, utilizing the Falcon. He knows the opponent's got the Owls. And meanwhile, Nicolaccio going with Squizzard. And I think we're going to see a lot of Squizzard this week. And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? I think Squizzard actually makes a lot of sense in general for this event overall. Because lizards are phenomenal against snakes, right? And snakes seem to be a very obvious choice when you know your opponent's going to go for things like Tier 3 every game. And keep in mind, they don't necessarily have to build the Tier 3. They just have to include it in the deck, so Claro did scout Nicolaccio with the 7 farm Warren. Just going to open up 8 farm double, and I think he's going to be fine. You know, the rush is so large on this map. that additional building time is not going to really come into play. Yeah, no, I've been slacking on my YouTube Premium. I will get that going this weekend. I actually have a lot of kind of downtime on my computer this weekend, so it's very easy. There's really no reason I'm so far behind. This event is actually good inspiration to get the YouTube updated, because I know Gent likes to make lists of all the episodes. So nothing crazy yet. Kalaru with a very natural macro opening, a little bit more greedy. You know, Nicolaccio is staying on the safe side, just keeping with the tier 1. Both players want to take this into a 2-base game at the very least. And we just kind of have to give it a little bit of breathing time, see where it goes. I mean, it is a little bit worrisome that Kalaru will have skunks out pretty quick here. Nicolaccio going into those snakes after scouting the tier 2 of his opponent. But honestly, like, Squizzard does just fine against skunks. Squizzard does really good against most tier 2 besides Chameleon. And double snakes out of Nicolaccio here. So very, very greedy openings on both sides. And keep in mind, you know, Nicolaccio can try some crazy stuff. He can try to pull the wool over Kalaru's eyes in a game or two. You know, take some big risks, because he's just got to win one match. And you know, Kalaru is really the one who's kind of got to play it safe, not take a lot of risks. And as I say that, you know, Kalaru's opening is really greedy, but Kalaru's a good player, and he's being greedy on the back of scouting. He knows his opponent went for double tier 2. He knows his opponent is got a second base, you know, and saturating up there. So, ooh, I love that. Yeah, I was thinking like the Fox was a little bit greedy, but Kalaru actually sells it off. He's trying to double bluff his opponent, or maybe he sold it off in response to seeing the double snake. Like, with some good micro, the Fox can work against double snake like that, but even though the Fox outranges the snake, the Fox gets rooted for a minute, like after it shoots, and that'll oftentimes be enough for the snake to come in and get that stack of poison. And especially with things like road and water coming into the mix, you gotta be really careful. Like, you can get some shots off when your opponents have snakes, but it's a razor thin margin of error, man. If you were just tiny hair overextending, those snake's poisons will get on the Fox and kill it immediately. Interesting third base here from Kalaru. This is a little bit risky. If Nicolaccio does scout that out, he could easily take it. But I love this base as well. It's kind of a distraction base, right? Like, Nicolaccio is not going to think there would possibly be a third base out on the map hidden like that if he sees the natural third base here from Kalaru. Lots of lizards coming out from Nicolaccio, which is actually might work out well for him. Kalaru doesn't really have much in his deck that is great against lizards. Maybe the Falcons, as weird as that sounds. Like, I feel like Falcons perform pretty well against lizards in big fights as long as there's plenty of fodder on the ground for those Falcons to safely, you know, get their DPS going. Because they do so much DPS so fast, they can just shred down those lizards. But, you know, this lack of tier 1 from Kalaru is kind of worrisome for me. Like, he looks like he's setting up for the Owl transition, which just isn't happening. You know, Nicolaccio just hanging out. He's getting his third base going. He's got some balloons up. No owls, nothing like that. Nicolaccio is just staying safe with all these lizards, man. And I'm not sure if Kalaru's comp is going to work here. He's starting a bit of a siege with these ferrets, but again, needs to be careful. These lizards can get on top of these ferrets very, very quickly. Here comes Nicolaccio, going to push them back, going to get that stack of poison, and that might be enough. It's going to be really close. Oh, man, 2 HP. Man, I need to set up, like, a mute hotkey. How do I not have that? I've been streaming forever, and I don't have a mute hotkey, you guys. Alright, raspy voice, shoutcasting all the time. I'm trying to be a pro esports streamer here and not cough in the microphone. I love it, the Falcon's granting that vision to keep the siege going. Claro not going crazy with the ferrets. Just two. But Nicolaccio is going to try it. He's coming in. He's going to commit very hard here. Oh, this skunk gas gets thrown down. Those 6 skunks. Like, Claro's army comp was kind of vulnerable for a while, but now he's kind of got to this critical mass of skunks, right? Where he's got 6 of them, man. And that is just so much HP to tank through at the same time of all this gas going down immediately. And most of the time, lizards can, like, run out of that gas cloud, you know, be pretty efficient against skunks. But when you just have so many of them like this, that gas cloud is just everywhere. And Kalaru realizes he's taken some good trades there. He's going to move in with some aggression. He's still got plenty of HP on most of these skunks, a couple of them going down. And Nicolaccio was finally going for that owl transition, but a little bit too late here. Or maybe he should have pulled back a little bit with those lizards as he was trying to build that up. Kalaru going to come in and smack him down and put a point on the board in match number 1 here. Yeah, again, guys, if you're watching these VODs, I know a lot of people actually just catch my VODs, you know, on their own time. But I really encourage you, look under the Tooth and Tail events section on the stream. I updated that. There's a Discord to this event. There's links to all the other streamers that are covering it. I mean, this is episode 11, right? This is the second one I've done. So there is so much more Tooth and Tail content out there, guys. Please go check that out on the other streamers' channels. Give them a follow. Here we go. Match number 2. Over on the right, we've got Nicolaccio. Opponent to the left, Kalaru. Looks like pretty similar setups. Kalaru opting to trade out the Falcon and turret for the Lizard Balloon. And again, you know, I'm really thinking Squizzard is the way to go this week. You know, without moles in the mix. It seems to be the rational choice. Which at the same time maybe means people, you know, rock the Squirrel Toad to try to get around that. But, you know, I just feel like lizards are so good against snakes, especially when people try to poke with them. And snakes are a very obvious pick, I feel like, for this entire event, you know. I mean, the snakes are good against all the tier 3. But at the same time, it depends on how much people want to go for the spirit of the event, right? You know, this is a tier 3 event, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to build tier 3. Ooh, Kalaru with the 6 farm triple here. Nicolaccio really needs to get this scout in. But this is always rough. Like, sometimes you just assume, like, he saw the 8 farm and he's going to come in and he's going to see the 6 farm triple here. And that's actually good because sometimes I'll lose to this. Oh, a balloon coming down. That's an interesting way to try to hold this. The balloon will be up in time. Or will it? It's going to be pretty gosh darn close here. That balloon will have nice coverage on all the pigs, but 3 lizards is enough to get 1. Maybe even 2, depending on how the damage is spread out on these lizards. Get a little bit of micro there from Kalaru, trying to change which lizards tank. And yeah, that is 2 farms killed, man. That balloon defense just didn't quite work out. That's really all Kalaru needed. He could just come home from here. Build up his farms. You know, nice try from Nicolaccio, kind of an innovative way to try to deal with that, but you know, really what he needed was just some warrens, man. Oh my gosh, Kalaru being sneaky here, running through. And I love this from Kalaru, by the way, how he didn't go for 9 lizards, he just went for 6 and 1 squirrel warren. Because that makes you much less vulnerable to the counterattack. You know, when you get in there, you lose a few lizards. You've still got some squirrels at home to defend when the opponent comes back in. So Kalaru's miles ahead this game. It's going to be very difficult for Nicolaccio to come back. I mean, Kalaru just got so much damage done with that early aggression. But you never know. If Nicolacio can squeak out an economic lead for a couple minutes, you know, maybe start winning the farm race. If Claro doesn't pull the trigger and go for the killing blow, it gives Nicolacio some time and kind of lets us get into the mid or late game. That damage will be less and less significant over time. But it's also just not the, it's not just the 60 food you lose when that pig goes down. It's also that additional, what, is it 30 seconds for a pig? I really should know these kinds of things. I think it's 30 seconds to build a pig. Let's say it's 30 seconds. That's an extra 30 food, right? That you've lost out on. So it's really like 90 food in the early game. And then that 30 food, quote unquote, kind of comes back, you know, once all the farms fallow out. Nicolacio, again, he's trying to get this balloon up. He's hoping that is the way to get back into this, but 120 food going down for Nicolacio. That is not what he needed, and Kalaru knows he doesn't want to sit back and give Nicolacio the chance to get back into this game. He knows he's got the lead, and he puts together a nice push here. 15 squirrels and some skunks, and that is just too much damage. Nicolacio hanging out for now, but probably thinking about tapping out. He's going to rally his units one more time. Even if he gets that skunk kill, nice micro from Claro, keeping that alive. That is just curtains from here. Nicolacio should be tapping any second. And Claro tying things up. Keep in mind, Nicolacio did start with a 2-0 lead, kind of as like a level handicap here. So great killing instinct there from Claro. Finish off the game when he had the lead. And in the bottom corner, we've got Nicolacio and his opponent to left, Claro. I mean, I'm happy. I'm on Team Fox, man. We need this win. Well, we're actually defending, but still, I mean, it's good. It's good for us. Winning series is good. Doesn't matter if you're attacking or defending. It's better when you're attacking, I guess. But wins are wins. That's the way I see it. Pretty big map here, but the map kind of stretches out away from the two main bases, which is kind of neat. So it's like a big map, but we still got a small rush distance. 8 farm openings from both sides. A little bit awkward for Claro to expand here. Now, what is nice is he's got this artillery cannon, which is kind of like the Claro signature. He's kind of a big Fox player, too. I mean, obviously, he joined the Fox team. But he is a player who's historically been known for his good Fox plays. But he's also, I feel like he's more of an arty guy, right? Like, everybody's got that one unit, you know? Like, even if it's not meta, you try to make it work. And for Claro, that's definitely the artillery cannon. And I would love to see Claro get that going this game. And he's got a nice forward mill here, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty sure if he takes this mill, he can probably get some territory up on this high ground right there. Doesn't even really need that, though. Like, if he plops an artillery down, like, near these trees, you know, that's definitely good enough. And double cam opening here from Claro, something we haven't seen super often recently, but still very powerful. I mean, the double cam into Meek actually took a nice victory against me one time where he used double cams to, like, turret siege me, you know. I tried to bust in there, but just the raw fighting power of 4 chameleons on the ground, it's tough to deal with in the early game. You know, one thing I'm not sure of on the D-Zone layout is how to swap players. I need to ask him about that, because I think it's designed where the player on the left side's the attacker, the player on the right's the defender. But what if they came in the other way, you know? I could probably just tell the players to try to fix that in the lobby. I don't think there's a way to flip it. Claro's not messing around, man. He's got these 4 cams here. One of them's not quite ready yet. It's on the way. And he's coming in for the big attack. The skunks are pretty nice, especially on defense, and the chameleon's actually going down. Nicolacho with a decent hold there. You know, trades 3 tier 2 for 1. Does lose a pig, though, which is a problem as this game goes on. And Kalaru just really not wanting to play with tier 1 this game, building up to more and more tier 2. We're still on 1 base, and it's really rough that Nicolacio lost that pig. I would say that was a successful hold if that pig stayed alive, you know. Like, those trades were fine. But the fact that his income took a hit is pretty rough here as the skirmishes continue. And Kalaru trying to get an even further lead here on economy by throwing down those couple farms on the second base. Big attack coming in from Nicolacio, though, not really trying to give Kalaru any time to catch his breath. Moving more and more forward with these skunks. These skunks doing a very good job against this tier 1 and chameleons here, but the Falcon's going to push it back for now. Good defense here from Kalaru. Now that he's got these Falcons operational, he can prevent Nicolacio from doing any prolonged skunk harassment, you know? Kind of poking in, throwing down some gas on the farms, you know, on the units wherever you can. This army from Nicolacio is not looking bad, but he's kind of all in at this point. You know, the 5-minute mark's hitting, and that just means that he's even further behind on economy now. Man, unfortunately for him too, the farm that he lost was a starting farm, man. I'm sorry, it was not a starting farm, I should say. And he would have preferred if it was, because he would still have 4 farms going right now. Nicolacio trying to shove in again. But Kalaru's army continues to get more and more technical. More big bad tier 2 units on the way. And Nicolacio is running out of steam here. He's got to sell off the skunks. He's just trying to get up as many units as he can, but he knows... he sees the writing on the wall. GG. Kalaru takes the series 3-2. Very nice. And let's get this guy in here. Excuse me. And Kalaru is also defending here, so if he could just stay put, let this guy take the other spot, that would be perfect. Let me go ahead and update our scores here. No handicap this match. So we're going to have this guy versus Kalaru. That's going to be good. Bam. There we go. And let's see where he is. Yep. So this guy should be on the way. Just waiting on him to hop in here. Nice try there from Nicolacio. The deck was stacked against him though. Kalaru, phenomenal top tier player, has been for a long time. And I think I'll kick it to a brief break here while this guy gets into position. So don't go anywhere, guys. Just trying to coordinate this next live match here. Sometimes it's not as streamlined as like replays, but it is always hyped to like do the live thing. So I'll just kick it to a break while we wait on this guy to get here. I will see you soon. Alright, we're going to take a little bit of an audible here and hop to a match where the players are ready to roll. Looks like we're going to have Floor versus Goris coming up next, and looks like Floor is on offense. Goris is on defense. Goris has a weight of 416. And yeah. One second, I'm trying to help get these guys in. Oh, now Goris is saying he can't play. Alright, in that case, I have another... A backup plan A failed. So let us go to backup plan B here. Which is some replays. That's some replays for you here. Put that in there. Okay. So, what we'll do is we'll go into Melvin Fro versus Ken. And let me update my nice little overlay here, courtesy of D's-on. Killing it. Perfectamundo. Alright, and that's a weight of 928 for defense. 0-1 lead for Ken here. A little bit of a handicap, I guess. Melvin is really strong. Okay. Yeah, so let's go into this, guys, as we wait on the players to get in position. Melvin Fro versus Ken here. And perfect. Let me just change some colors up. Yellow and green. Yellow and green. Do it. There we go. Nice. All right. Spawning over on the left, we've got Melvin Fro on the Badger team, and his opponent to the right, Kin Replica. Yep, everything looks good on the overlay. And let's see how these guys want to play it out. We got some toads here. Badger players rejoice. You can use your pigeons. Melvin using both skunk and pigeon. The bands were like really geared towards Badger, in my opinion, first week, you know. Skunk, pigeon, Badger just all go hand in hand. Absolutely. There we go. All right. So Ken's got a nice little spawn here. And keep in mind, Melvin is the favored player, so definitely happy about that. I mean, this second base is a pocket base for the most part. Yeah. Looking at the water, there's really no way for Melvin to wiggle around and get down there, which is going to be difficult to scout. It's also just nice in general. You don't have to worry about it. So there's only kind of like one attack way into all four of these bases, because even this is held off. It could be really annoying if Melvin had something like Fox or Ferret or even Balloon or Artie to like shoot over that or something, but not gonna happen this game. And this is a nice big map here, so we're probably gonna see a juicy macro game. You know, pretty long rush distances, kind of awkward attack path through all these doodads, through the water, uphill through the snow both ways. So let's see how these players want to play it out. Again, I would just assume we're going to see some macro games here. And in the Tier 3 rock, paper, scissors, you know, the Badger oftentimes will beat the Owl, but You can utilize things like snakes, like falcons, to get over that. And both these decks look pretty well tuned against what they know they're up, fighting in this matchup, right? Like snakes are good against the badgers. The skunk falcon is a great answer to mass owl. And so far, Melvin is winning the greed game, and Melvin's kind of known for this. He is not afraid to just go straight up to 8 farms on that second base. And Ken's doing a good job of scouting and trying to keep up to par. Like, really what you're looking for in this phase of the game is you're just trying to get those counts on the second base farms. And you want to try to stay a couple ahead. So, good job from Ken. I mean, yeah, Melvin's farms are a little bit faster, but not enough to make a big difference. Ken, so far in this game, has been very on top of their scouting. And here comes the owl. Now, this owl is a little bit of a risk. If Melvin does not continue to tier up, he's got double tier 2. If he just, throws down a bunch of squirrels and attacks in, this can get really dangerous really fast. When you've got 360 food wrapped up. Oh my god, Ken is going big. Go big or go home. This is so greedy from Ken here. Third base, saturating up that third base. Going double owl. And they might get away with it. At this phase of the game, it is harder to scout. So Melvin is really not going to get in there and get a nice deep scout anymore. He sees the turrets, which might raise some flags. And yeah, Melvin's going for the badger. So I like this a lot from Ken, but Ken doesn't really need the turrets right now. Turrets build so fast. You can really build them when you know the attack's on the way. But Ken hasn't gone in there and scouted the badgers, so Ken is just worried that their greed might be punished by Melvin here. So many turrets coming up. And with this defense, Ken is not splitting the map favorably. He's just splitting it at parity. And again, Ken has not been able to get in there and see the batters. Melvin has no idea either. Melvin hasn't been able to see the saturation on the third base. The tier 3 on the way. Yeah, and here come the snakes. Good. All right. I'm rooting for the underdog here, man. I think Ken is starting this out pretty well. It's going to be very hard for the badger to break through this wall of turrets. And, once Ken feels a little bit more comfortable, Ken can leapfrog these turrets up some. Got the fourth base on the way. This is a big... Dude, look how juicy this game is for not even at the 6-minute mark yet. It's insane. This is one of the greediest games ever. 20 farms on both sides. Here's the badger. Coming to say hi. It's not really going to get anything done. These mice will come in and get some kills, which is starting the value train for Ken. But I don't think 2 owls is enough, man. I think Ken really needs to get up to owls 3, 4, and 5 here soon. Has the income to support it. But trying to be careful. Building a lot of tier 1, making sure that they don't just get ran over. And is anybody going to leave a starvation farm here? Because this does seem like it could stalemate. Like, I don't really see Melvin breaking through this. And once Ken starts... I think Ken needs to move these turrets up to the edge of their territory. Because then it's like right on their face, threatening. Oh man. Badger number 2 on the way here. Yeah, and I think Ken just really needs more owls. I'd love to see owl 3, 4, and 5. Like, I think that's how Ken wins this. So yeah, Melvin's army is efficient, but no, Ken's just gonna go for it. But Ken's got so much invested in the turrets. He's actually gonna run all the way back, gonna lose a lot in the process. Oh my gosh, Ken is in such a good spot to win this. Throw down those owls. Come on, here we go. Oh no, more tier 1. You need owls, bud. Give me an owl. That one's an owl. No, darn it. No tier 1, only owl. Alright, owl number 3 on the way here. But Melvin's going up to 5 badgers. That's what this, you know, both players have the economy for this. Ken needs to be careful moving out with the entire army. Really doesn't want to lose anything getting picked off. I really think Ken just needs a few more owls here and to move the turrets up. And they can win this. But Melvin going up to 5 badgers, man. 54 squirrels. I wish I was 54 toads. Could you imagine? Owl? Nice. Nice, nice. Owl number 4. 3 and 4 on the way here. Blech. Blech. Only 2 batters right now. Oh, Ken's gonna go for it. Look at these massive armies. 50 squirrels on the board. No tier 1 at all for Melvin. But are these squirrels really gonna get the job done? You know, the mice kind of do the same thing that the squirrels do, in theory. And there's so many skunks out. You know, I really feel like all this tier 1 from Ken is just gonna get AoE down. Yeah, I don't think he's got enough surface area to really be trying to build so much tier 1. I mean, look at these squirrels. They can't even find tiles here. That is so many units. Ken with the Zerg here, but continuing to pull back. You know? And this is what I was afraid of. All that AoE is just going to melt through these squirrels. But Ken will be reproducing units very, very quickly. Melvin busting through. No badgers left. Ken still has all of their owls here. This base does go down, but not a big deal. That base was mined out already. Ken did lose a lot of money in defense there. But all of these badgers are blocked right now for Melvin. Maybe only one of them building? It's kind of hard to tell how many are blocked, to be honest. And another round of units coming out here from Ken. So much green on the ground. Four owls holding strong in the skies. Yeah, I think Ken played well, but I think Ken needed more owls faster. And, like, just a ton of snake chameleon, you know? I don't think there's enough room here for all these squirrels. Alright, Ken pushing forward. But now that these badgers are starting to get back in business, Melvin is going to take the chase. There are just not enough snakes here to really get the poison stacks that Ken is looking for on all of these badgers. I think Ken piloted this game into a great position going into the mid and late game. Just some of the decision making wasn't quite there for the ultra late game army comp. But still really well played from Ken and a nice victory here from Melvin. As we'll hop into game number 2 of this series here shortly. I mean, this one's over, and we do have a lot to cover tonight, so I hope nobody's feelings are hurt if I fast forward through the end of this, and there it is. Game 1 going to Melvin. All right. Top into match number 2 here. Melvin Furrow over on the right-hand side, representing the Badgers, and over on the left with the Owls, Ken Replica. Alright, looks like the players are getting into position, so hopefully we can just hop right into the live matches once we conclude this series, but we already kind of started this, so I feel like it makes sense to finish it. And another pretty big map here. Looks a bit favored for Melvin if we go to that later phase of the game again. Melvin getting that extra gristmill on their side of the map. But Ken's got the discount mill over here, you know. 3 cabins. That's 3 farms. In most games, we really don't see that 4th base come into play. It's kind of the exception, not the rule. Ken actually going for an 8 farm straight into a gristmill here. A little bit risky, but normally the punish to that are moles, right? But there's no moles allowed since moles are banned. So I like it. And so far, everything looking normal, you know, just building into a few tier 1, into expansions. Looks like players taking the same decks here. I don't think there's any differences. And, you know, again, I think Ken was doing great in that last game. I think they navigated their way into the mid to the late game, played that economic game very nicely. Was just a little bit too safe on the army comp going later on. We saw Melvin, you know, transition out of essentially no tier 1 outside of the pigeon to support the badger. And that's kind of what you want to do when you get later, especially when you have access to things like chameleons. You know, chameleons are really, really good replacements for tier 1 in the later game, because they can still kind of fill that just boots on the ground grunt role. You know, they're up front, they're dealing damage, they're taking hits. And again, a lot of greed out of both these players. I mean, we're just zooming right up to 8 farms, and it kind of makes sense this week for us to see this style of play, because oftentimes in the modern meta, what stops players from just greeding up like this so fast is the threat of that mole push. With no moles, no wire. And Melvin's already working on the 3rd base here, getting some skunks. Now, these are very greedy openings, but you got to keep in mind, too, this is off the back of information. You know, double owl from Ken as well. These players aren't just, like, blindly going up to 8 farms on the 2nd base. I would never recommend that. You got to scout. You got to see what your opponent's doing. I think sometimes when people study replays, they often forget that aspect of it. That build orders are highly dependent on scouting information. And one thing I think a lot of players, including myself sometimes, really don't take into account as much as they should is the map geography as far as opening build orders go. You know, on some maps, it's totally safe to go for an 8 farm double into a tier 2, or even a 8 farm single tier 1 into a tier 2. Other maps, you'll just get rolled over if you do that, you know? And you gotta build 3 tier 1, 3 or 4 tier 1 before you can go into a tier 2. So, like, little stuff like that I always think is really interesting. Okay, we've just got another big fat macro game here, and I hope Ken kind of learns their lesson from last time and doesn't overbuild the tier 1 this time. You know, Ken needs to get up a large count of snakes, needs to get up a large count of owls. I don't hate the 18, but it should stop there, you know. It should stop there and probably go down later on. And the toads are kind of interesting. You know, the toads can have a nice follow-up punch once the mice get in there and tank for them. You know, the mice get in there, take the hits, and then the toads, but you know, I think Ken is running into a trap in this series so far, because Melvin wants to build up a bunch of skunks, and building all this tier 1 on top of your mice already just feels like it's gonna get obliterated by all the gas. However, this time around, Ken is busting through. Those toads were a great follow-up. And Ken gets some economic damage here. Very nicely done. Even taking a better trade. But I feel like Melvin did a better job of selling down on the Warrens after this. You know, Ken is still deep in the red on those two owls, and even following up with another attack here, and just using the toads to knock out that base. Ken, sign my mouse pad, dude. Oh my god, I love to see that. It's like so cost ineffective, but so tempo efficient, you know? Like, damn, so much damage. Now, Melvin does have this third base going, but this looks like it could be a Ken victory here. Ken did kind of meet me in the middle, and was like, alright, I'll sell off one owl. But the Badger's back up and rolling for Melvin here. And Ken really needs to get those snake stacks onto the Badger. Let's see, so far only 2. That's not going to be enough, and Melvin cleans this up nicely. And again, man, I just feel like Ken is overdoing it on the tier 1. The mice are already filling that role, and Melvin is already countering that with skunks. He really needs his comp to be more chameleon snake heavy. Like, that follow-up attack was so bad for Ken because of those compositions, you know? And Ken's got 4 snakes here, but it's not enough to just have 4 snakes. You know, snakes are not the tier 2 unit that you can just kind of autopilot into the fight. You really got to micro with snakes. You've really got to get in there and target that Badger specifically. You know, you get 2 stacks of poison from each of those snakes on the Badger, it's going down. But if the snakes are just attacking willy-nilly in the fight, it's not going to be very effective. And we can see the tenacity here of Melvin. You know, losing that second base, but keeping it calm, keeping it cool, getting this army comp back together, getting that third base up and running, and taking the eco lead. And again, I just think, I feel like a broken record, but Ken has just got too many squirrels here. You know, once Melvin can afford it, his next move is probably going to be to go up to double skunk, especially when he comes in and sees all those squirrels. Like, he's already got 2 skunks with some pigeons. Once he gets up to 4 skunks is where it becomes really difficult. And there it is, he's going up to 4 skunks. That is exactly the right move. And I don't mean to harp on Ken too much. I think Ken is honestly playing really nicely. You know, they're navigating the macro game quite well. They're doing a good job spending their money. They're doing a good job scouting. You know, keeping up on economy. But just kind of lacking on the decision-making for the army comp here. That's the area I would work on. And meanwhile, Melvin's just building up this very, very tier 2 heavy composition. And we look like we're going to see another big engagement coming in here. All 4 skunks are ready to roll. It's a lot of AoE, but will the toads be enough to just clash through? It doesn't quite look like it. Nice poison stacks this time around, but only gets 5 of them before all the snakes go down. Melvin trying to use the water healing, the pigeons, the territory, and it keeps the Badgers alive. And again, you know, favorable trade for Melvin there, but not by as big of a margin as last time. That was definitely closer. Melvin's feeling a bit froggy here, thinking maybe this is the time to come in. These last couple attacks haven't really worked for Ken. Melvin's starting to get in position here. But always the economic player gonna run home, squeeze out another farm, maybe no, decides just to rally his units together. Both players kind of meeting out in the field here. Yeah, there's the farms. Melvin's got the backup plan. He knows, alright, if this doesn't work, let me just solidify my economic lead here. But Ken is not going to wait for Melvin to engage in a clash in here. And Melvin does win with a lot of his core units still left over. Again, close fights here, but the owl going down is very rough for Ken. I might fast forward a little bit. That's because we do have live games waiting. As both players kind of rally back up here. Ken just sticking with this squirrel toad snake. Gonna punch through yet again. But I feel like these skunks, man, really are just hard countering Ken in like all of these engagements. And that should be the killing blow. Yeah, Ken's gonna tap out after that. Another win for Melvin here. And let's hop into game number 3. Spawning on the bottom right, we've got Ken. Changing the deck up a little bit this time. Their opponent up top, Melvin. So maybe the plan from Ken this time around is to not go to that late game. You know, Ken's gone to the late game twice and has lost twice there. So maybe Ken's going to say, you know what, as Melvin is trying to tech up, trying to eco up, I'm going to utilize these ferrets and lizards and mines, put on a whole bunch of pressure to try to win the game. This might not be a bad map, to be honest, for ferrets. Like, look at this for Ken. Imagine ferrets just right there shelling down on these two bases. The gristmills are a little bit awkward for Ken. You know, you gotta love it if you're Melvin. You got these two bases right here, nice and neat. You got this fourth base over on the side. And I guess this does split better for Ken, in theory. If Ken gets all of this stuff down here, it's just a little bit wonky. You know, Ken's really going to have to move out. You know, clear out these two cabins, grab this mill, and kind of plant their flag in this area. But this wall, man, this is so devastating for the fact that Ken's got a unit to abuse that. Ken's got the ferrets. So let's see how they want to play it out. Last two games we've seen between these players were macro matches. Melvin, in general, likes to macro up. I think it's a good way to play. You know, it's really living on the knife's edge if you're not going for this, like, quick farm kind of strategy. Because Melvin could flex, right? Like, Melvin doesn't necessarily, like, he's not gonna just shoot up to 16 farms every game. He's scouting, right? Like, if he scouts Ken, you know, no expansion, doing some kind of building a whole bunch of tier 1, he's gonna hold back. He's gonna try to maybe get the skunks, brace for impact, and fight. And now Ken is going into double tier 2 here off one base. How does Melvin want to respond? He's just gonna get the skunks. Maybe Cam as well? Yeah, he's gonna go with Cam's. Cam Falcon. I think that's smart. You know, he doesn't see a lot of tier 1. Alright, Ken. Come on, man. Abuse this terrain. This is your map. Melvin sees the ferrets. Dude, Ken, attack right there. Go that way. Ken. Like, he can just kill this base. Ken's starting to shell at the front. Lots of mines, but Melvin sees them. Doesn't Melvin see him? Was pretty close. Melvin's doing the anti-ferret dance here. But the problem is the ferrets aren't the best in a direct engagement, so, you know, Melvin kind of realizes, all right, enough is enough, and hard engages. This is why we often see ferrets paired with things like turrets, or in this case, mines, to try to mitigate that for when the opponent just decides to go for it. Melvin's coming in. Yeah, was not aware of the mines. The mines getting some good work done. And Melvin's commander goes down. This is huge. Ken is just going to come in and sweep everything up. Oh my god. Enormous victory here for Ken. But Melvin's re-rallying. He's coming back in. He's going to try to get the snake on the retreat. I think it's going to get away with just fine. Ken, man. Oh, dude, I wanted to see this so bad. But why? Why go the long, hard way when you can just shove right through their face, apparently? Falcon going down. Ken does not have enough fodder here to continue to protect these ferrets. Gonna have to retreat, losing one ferret in the process. Melvin is continuing to amass more and more units here. Sold off the cams, just using these falcons, which is kind of nice because the falcons can prevent the ferrets from poking. But Ken is starting to fall behind a little bit. 5-minute mark here. Economy's starting to fallow out. Melvin building more and more farms. Ken does have that second gristmill, but hasn't committed any farms to it yet. Melvin's going to come in and see no farms on that base and probably be pretty happy. Does have the one campfire, though. Can't forget about that. So that actually kept the incomes pretty even for a while. Until Melvin jumped up on these additional pigs here. And nice sell from Melvin. Doesn't want to get too greedy. Again, you only want to stay like a couple farms ahead of your opponent in most cases. If you're too many farms ahead, you leave yourself open to an attack window where they can just come in and run you over. But again, that's less likely nowadays, or this week I should say, without the moles. Because the moles are really instrumental in timing attacks to punish greedy opponents. Alright, Ken's going to come down here, or Melvin rather, is going to come down and scout all those farms. Going to be a little bit cheesed about that. And start building them himself. And man, Ken, I wanted to see you abuse this so bad. Look at this. We've got a little bit of a lull in this game, so stick around, guys. We've got a lot more in tonight. We've got a couple more live series ready to roll. Might just fast forward here. See where things are going to go. Both players kind of being careful. And rightfully so, you know, this next fight could just very well decide the game. I think Ken's done a good job of trying to get back into this economically. Yeah, but Ken just really loves Tier 1, you know, building up so much in every game. However, Melvin's got a lot here too. Ooh, Melvin is looking for some blood. Moving forward. Might even take that mill to tank. Let's see, gonna come in for it. And it looks like Melvin is just going to crush through. Those Falcons doing a lot of DPS. You know, these snakes are definitely a technical unit. They're not going to do amazing in the straight-up fight. They're really there to assassinate key Tier 2, Tier 3 units. And there you have it, folks. Melvin with the 3-0 victory in that series. And let me see if any of my players are ready. Let me hop on into the live game lobby here. All right. Okay, floor is ready. Is Goris ready? Who's ready? Who's ready to roll? Alright, looks like we're gonna have Floor versus Goris. What is going on with this one? So Floor is attacking, Goris is defending. Goris is the boars. Alright, there we go. Awesome. Colors are already right. It's going to be 0-0 here. Nobody's got a head start. Nice, even match. Very good. Here we go. Okay, spawning in the top left, representing the Badger team, we've got Floor. The opponent to the right, representing the Boars, Giger Goris the third, aka Goris. No barbed wire, no moles here. Everything looks good. Another big map. Kind of awkward on the gristmill positioning here. I like it a little bit better for Fleur, I guess. You know, it's got this pocket base, nice and tight back there. Got this natural, but this natural is going to be rough. You know, I'd almost prefer Fleur tried to plant the flag up there early on. I think it's safer to go back here. But, you know, once Goris gets this expansion, it could start easily contesting this high ground. You know, this could get out of control for Goris as far as the mills. So there's actually a lot of options here for second base positions. So yeah, lots of options here on where we're going to see these second bases. I'm really curious how the players are going to go about that. You know, I think the obvious choices is Goris taking this one and Floor taking this back one, but I kind of would like to see Floor take this more forward one, to be honest, because that would kind of shut Goris out of a third base and set Floor up to really control this map. You know, the thing about this match is whoever controls this middle high ground here is probably going to win the game. You know, if we get into a technical positioning based map. And Floor stealing my heart, man. 8-farm double into tier 3. Let's go. Oh my god. I love seeing this kind of stuff. I love the, like, oh, and then the cell into double skunks. Probably to try to counter the mass tier 1 that he expects will come out of Goris. In response to the tier 3, Goris realizes he's been alley-ooped here a little bit, but is going to come in anyway. He's going to manage to grab a pig off of that. is gonna retreat for now. Damn, man. I wish Floor would have committed to the Badger. I was getting so hyped. Yeah, I'm kind of I don't follow the chat too much, but I do see Miracle asking about some economic things and Premium Bow giving some good advice there. One farm ahead is an old good golden rule. Yeah. In general, you are correct. Like if your opponent's building farms ahead of you, that is bad. But as long as you scout it very, very quickly, that difference can be negligible, right? Like if they get their farm like 10 or 15 seconds before you, it's not a big deal. But if they get their farm like a full minute before you, it can be huge. But Floor coming in here, those 4 skunks are rocking and rolling, and Goris was really just utilizing tier 1 to defend the space and is gonna get hammered down. Floor's still on 1 base, so really's gotta pick this up. And does. But Goris on some decent defense so far. Manages to pick off 2 of those skunks utilizing the high ground here. But Floor moving in with some more gas clouds. Geiger desperately trying to defend. Manages to get 1 of the skunks down. But another one is continuing to shell. Floor really just wants to get these last couple pigs and get this skunk out of here alive. And manages to do so. Loses a lot of army there. Arguably overextending, but it does pay off. You know, comes in here and just absolutely shreds Goris's main base. And is now going to come home and take that second base. This is Floor's game to lose now. You know, army value-wise, they're actually pretty close. But Floor's economy is just way ahead. And really, Goris has got to hope that some of these remaining pigs were not starting pigs, you know. And they keep farming after that 5-minute mark hits in about 10 seconds. I'm interested myself to see how many Goris is going to lose from that. And here's Goris coming in with this big attack. I think it's necessary. Needs to get some counter damage done, but no, Floor is going to hold it. And Goris is experienced enough to know that is GG. Taps out. I like this, man. Fast, quick, aggressive games. Let's go. I did want to see that 8 farm double into a tier 3, though, man. I got hyped for that. Okay, spawning up top, we've got Floor. Delthius changing it up a little bit, and in the bottom left, Goris. Floor with a nice game there. Doing a little bamboozle, showing the Badger, selling it, double skunk. Taking a little bit of a hit from Goris's response attack, but holding it off. And coming in and just crushing with the follow-up attack. With the double skunks there. So we got another nice big map on our hands. And rush distance is actually not that big compared to this map size, you know. I don't hate this for either side. Again, I think there's some interesting decision making on where you take your second base. You know, do you decide to go more forward? Do you play it a bit safer in the back? I think both players kind of have that type of option going on. And if this goes super late, it's kind of hard to say how it splits, to be honest, because all 3 of these mills are just so gosh darn close to each other. You know, it's rough seeing a big long drawn macro game where all of this is taken. If that makes sense, like Goris has these. I kind of like it better for Goris in that situation, because Goris definitely has these 2. And this one over to the left, and Goris is actually going for kind of a hidden base or ninja base, as it's been known lately. And Floor's taking this kind of more aggressive mill, which I think makes a lot of sense for what Floor wants to do. I mean, this is the perfect spot for a balloon up here on this high ground. And with the territory expansion from grabbing this grist mill is going to be able to build a balloon right there. And that's going to be perfect cover for these ferrets. The ferrets already bought and paid for, by the way. And what's kind of interesting about ferret openings, like Giger hasn't gone in and scouted the tier 2 yet. But if you scout a tier 2, you're not thinking ferrets, right? Like, tier 3, you get to see what unit it is. That wasn't always the case, by the way. I don't think that got implemented in until like a year or two later, to be honest. Like, maybe a year and a half, like, maybe in the Ides of March of 2018 is when that came in. Because it actually does make a big difference in how you prepare. But you come in and you scout. I mean, obviously now he knows it's ferrets, but most of, if I see a tier 2, I'm thinking it's skunks. Like, that's my default. An early tier 2, okay, that's probably skunks. If it's not skunks, it's probably chameleons. Those are those, like, 2 big fighting units, right? The falcons, some people actually go falcons early, and I've seen some good success with that. Boar on the way from Goris, but Goris is already under heavy siege here from these ferrets, and Floor is actually being very greedy with this ferret opening. Like, Floor has not... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Floor did scout all the farms. So this is actually perfect. Like, Floor is keeping up with the farms here and only building squirrels. And this is to invest, like, maximum army power per food possible at the moment. And interesting that Floor decides for the Badger now. Floor is like me. Is one of those players who is prone to recklessly get out tier 3 whenever they can, sells it after the scout. But I was curious to see if Floor had scouted the boar coming out from Goris and was building the Badger in response. And the boar is a nice choice from Goris here, since Floor is relying so heavily on the squirrels, kind of back this up. But I feel like what Goris really needs is a couple falcons here on the front to drive these ferrets back. And to make Floor kind of have to move his whole army up. And this is like such a perfect spot to siege with the ferrets, man. It is very awkward for Goris to walk around all this terrain doodads. I mean, all this is blocked off. Goris has got to go all the way around like that and run into the cabin in the process. Really needs to just knock that cabin down. But so far, I love this from Floor, man. And this ferret siege strategy is hard to pull off in a lot of cases. It's very map dependent. And if your opponent really knows how to answer it, it can be difficult to go by. But I think one of the reasons this is hard, again, and I hope we see more ferrets this week, because I think it's really the moles, right, that are keeping the ferrets down at the moment. Because the ferrets, it's hard to explain. Like, the ferrets rely on you having like a weaker army, but not so much weaker to where your opponent can just run over you. And the moles just kind of mitigate that. Big attack coming in from Goris here with the boar. Gets a lot done. That boar explosion was phenomenal. All these squirrels are stacked up here on the top, trying to rally to the bottom. Almost all of them got roasted. The chameleon's getting roasted too, and then the boar explodes, taking out the rest of those weakened chameleons. But yeah, the point I was making about the ferrets is, like, they operate on this, like, weird margin. Where they gotta utilize, like, terrain and maybe a defensive structure or two. And you're kind of playing on, like, an army power level that's just, like, slightly behind your opponents, but not so far behind to where they can just push you over. And I feel like the moles just wreck through it, Like, the moles just add so much instant power level to an army and really mess with those razor thin margins that a lot of ferret pushes operate on. Another good way to make ferrets work is when you're ahead, obviously. You get some kind of advantage in the early game and then you transition into ferrets, but to me that's not as exciting because the sky's the limit, right? When you get that early game advantage, you can kill your opponent any way you want. As long as you don't throw the game. So saying like ferrets need an early game advantage to me is a little bit counterintuitive, because any strategy should work with an early game advantage for the most part. Big army coming in from Goris, and this was really greedy from Floor, trying to rebuild up the economy by desperately just throwing down 8 farms, and Giger Goris coming in here with the big bad boar. Tying the series up here 1-1. And no handicaps this time around. This is a legit series from scratch, so. A little raspy today. I apologize, guys. I keep having to mute to cough. Man, that boar did a really good job in those bushes there. Alright, spawning on the bottom, we've got Giger Goris the third, and up top, Fleur de Lis. Turret artillery. Alright, man. Alright, Fleur's got the style points here, you know. I think Goris has been, like, rocking the same comp. Most of the games are very similar. My short-term memory for that kind of thing is not very good. I apologize. But Fleur is really changing it up. You know, if Goris has changed the deck, it's been very slightly. It's been very slight. Where Fleur is just coming in with radically different things. And there's an upside to both, you know. If you're playing the same deck every game, your opponent can kind of download that and maybe do something to try to counter what you're doing specifically. And also, they're going to know if you play the same style. It's interesting, though, like, I think people often forget you can have the same deck and play radically different games based on your build orders, right? Or overall plans. You could have the same deck and go for a 1 base all-in. You know, let's take Goris's deck, for example. He could 1 base all-in with the boar, or he could 1 base all-in with, like, double cams and skunks. Or he could 2 base boar attack, or he could go into 2 base and build up like a late game skunk cam falcon. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. And you see those kind of like holy grail players, I call them, you know? Guys like Airlu and this guy come to mind, where they really try to find the perfect deck for the meta. So they'll stick with that deck throughout the series. Maybe make like a tiny adjustment, you know, swap out a unit or two. And then you have players, I feel like the Gentleman's a good example of this, or Big Pimpin' Tosh is, like, I think Tosh is the key example of changing it up, you know. You never know what's going to come out of Tosh. And the Gentleman's kind of similar. And those have their strengths and weaknesses, right? Like, yeah, when you do stuff like this, you know, your power level. I've been saying power level a lot tonight. I apologize. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z. And like power level's a thing in the tournament. I guess it's relevant, right? But you know, in like Fleur's case, like, yeah, Fleur has changed it up, has snuck the arty in here, has got the turret, but at the same time, the power level of the artillery is not very high. It's great when it's great. But a lot of times, it's a dead card in your deck. You know, a lot of times you don't get to build it. And you're like, man, kind of wish I had lizards this game to deal with the skunks, or to deal with the snakes. Or to attack in through the side. And that spot is taken up from that artillery, because you're trying to be spicy. One thing that's kind of cool about artillery, too, and I think it's a bit more of a modern... what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking. Kind of modern deviation, I guess, is, you know, people often, I mean, they can't do it now, obviously, because barbed wire is banned, but I've been seeing a lot more artillery plus wire lately. And with the wire buffs, you know, it's dirt cheap nowadays. It makes a lot of sense. You build an artillery, you build a whole bunch of wires around it. You get in there. Push to cough. Yeah, Miracle. I am on a delay because these are live matches, and often I don't comment too much on the chat. Kind of let you guys do your own thing so I can focus on casting. But a lot of times Tier 3 is mind games, you know, and especially at higher level play. When opponent, and especially early on, like if you can sneak out an early Fox, it's going to devastate your opponent, you know, if they're not prepared for it, or a Badger, or really any of them. However, if they scout it, it's very kind of mathed out what the right response is. You know, okay, I've got like a minute and a half until it's here. I can buff up on some farms to get ahead on the eco. I can get out the appropriate Tier 2 counter. So really it is all about hiding that Tier 3 Warren. And I'm kind of screwing around with the vision here. So Flora has not seen the boar coming out of Gorus, but Gorus has seen the Badger. But Flora's kind of getting the snakes anyways. And then there's another part where you get to like 2 to 3 bases, you know, and then it's just kind of natural for the Tier 3 to appear there. You still do want to hide it because really, really good players will still be able to punch through. But that's typically with moles. And we can't use moles this week, so that really throws up a lot of timing-oriented stuff, right? You know, it used to be, even on, even in situations like this, right, where it's 2-base saturation, we're both kind of hanging out, it could still be risky to build a Tier 3 against a strong player because they scout the Tier 3, they build a bunch of Mole Warrens, they swing in and run you over. Really, I think when like the 3rd base is on the way, or if the map actually comes into this kind of stuff a lot, and I think it's really under-considered. You know, if it's a short rush distance map, you gotta be much, much more careful about risks, where if it's a really big, wonky, long rush distance map, you can get away with things you normally should not be able to. Oh, yeah, no, I know. I know you're not expecting me, but you're asking some really cool questions, man, and I'm happy you're here enjoying the game. And again, guys, if you're kind of just tuning in every now and then and trying to catch this and you want to see more, I did update the Tooth and Tail events section underneath the stream that you're watching right now. There's a link to the Discord of this event, and there's links to all the other streamers that are covering this content. I'm super excited. Oh, hold that thought. We've got Gorus coming in for a big push here. This game has kind of been a Cold War. You know, both players building up these big death ball armies. And now is the big clash. And the question is Gorus just going to bust through, or is Floor going to hold? It looks like Floor is going to hold for now. The artillery cannon is helping out a little bit in this. However, Gorus does manage to knock that base out. Nice victory there. However, that was the 2nd base of Floor, so it was a little bit on the way out anyways, but it's still a huge victory there for Gorus. But this is the part I always love, like after we've been building up these big armies all game, what do you decide to sell off and what do you decide to keep? Oh yeah, but definitely support all the streamers, guys. Throw them a follow, tune into their streams, it really means a lot to us. And Gorus feeling like he can finish this off. He smells blood in the water, but his commander goes down. Oh, that is the worst feeling. It happens to me all the time against snakes, man. Snakes poisoning commanders is so rough. That always messes up my math. And Gorus actually takes a devastating defeat after losing the commander there. He's no longer able to micro the army. Floor just cleans it all up. So that follow-up attack just became a nightmare there for Gorus, and that probably put Floor back to parity this match. You know, I think Gorus had a decent lead before then, but however, Gorus is probably not stopping. He's got the pedal to the metal here. He's got another army ready to rock and roll. The Big Daddy Boar busting his way through the map. And that Badger just gets deleted immediately. Oh my god, this is devastating for Floor. And this could just be GG here. The boar does have a lot of stacks of poison, but it might actually live from that. I think those poison stacks are about to go away. Gonna be really close, but the bower is gonna go down. However, Goris does not care. Taking that victory. With a 2-1 lead in this series. This series has actually been really good. Like, good golly. We've got some big names on the ticket tonight, you know, guys like Klaru and this guy, but Goris and Floor are good players, but they're like mid-range players, you know. This is really fun because they seem like they're really good matches for each other. So far these games have just been great and really action-packed and aggressive. Over here on the right, we've got Floor. His opponent on the bottom left on match point. We've got Goris. All right, Floor's got to crawl his way back into this series. He needs to win 2 in a row. Where Goris has just got to win it right here, 1 and done. And again, it looks like Floor is continuing to kind of fine-tune the composition. Meanwhile, Goris has got the deck he wants to use, man, and he's going to roll with it. And oftentimes, I like that strategy a lot. As long as you're not doing anything that's just got a really obvious counter, right? Because that's just easier to practice, you know? Man, I miss Glicker. He didn't do a lot of competitive matches. He would do some casting every now and then, but he would stream a lot, and he would, like, just play random. And he would do good, too. You know, he's actually really good at that. So there is, like, an art of just being able to use anything. And if you're like a grinder in Tooth and Tail, and, you know, you're always on the ladder playing matches, man, I encourage you hit that random button every now and then. I think it's a really good way to kind of grow as a player, especially if you get matched up against somebody, you know, that you feel like you're a little bit higher level than them. Because to be honest, there's really no units that are just trash, right? Which is always great. I think we're really close to an auto-include meta with the mole, which is bad. But we have seen even high-level games where people don't take the moles. So it's not necessarily at that point. But in general, for the meta, like, you don't want auto. Okay, there's 2 things that are bad in my opinion. When it's an auto-include meta, right? Where it's like, oh, you're just really crippling yourself if you don't include chameleons in your deck, or if you don't include the wolf in your deck, or whatever it is, right? And we've had that a lot throughout the years. It's never been super bad. And another thing that is unhealthy, in my opinion. Oh my God, Floor! I'm trying to buy time and just like talk about nonsense while this game is building up. But Floor with the tier 3 Badger, and Goris checking it out really early. Now Floor has had this MO of showing the Badger and then selling it. Kind of getting into a boy who cries wolf situation here. Boy who cries Badger. So Goris is going to come in and say, all right, you're actually keeping it. And Goris has a nice little squadron here, going to move in. But to be honest, Floor's got a good defense. However, Goris is on top of this target fire, manages to knock down one of the skunks, but 2 skunks were here for Floor. It does suck to lose a skunk. It's definitely a nice victory there for Goris in that regard. But, you know, overall, that was a win for Floor. Didn't take any real damage there, right? No Warrens went down, no farms went down, and still got the Badger going. Random switch 1, yeah, dude. Oh my God, that is awesome. Dude, next turn. I'm saying, dude, I'm broing out a little too much. I'm Chad casting, bro. We need a random +1. Tournament. That would be so fun. I don't think have we done a random tournament before? I feel like we have. Tiki says random is bad for learning if you aren't top tier. That is true. I would agree. I don't know if you have to go as far as top tier. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners. I think if you're like a mid-level player trying to find how to do new things, it's a good idea. Big attack coming in here from Floor. He's got the Badger, but so much snake poison here from Goris. And this is what I was talking about earlier today. You know, why I really expect to see snakes in almost all of these decks. Because of the spirit of this event. You know that tier 3 is going to be here. Really nice defense from Goris there, man. Knocks out the Badger, and Floor is just not going to commit to another one. He's going to say, alright, dude, you've already got a bunch of snakes on the ground. Dude, I know Floor likes to go for the one base tier 3 Mocha. I've seen him do it several times. But this follow-up attack from Goris just might be too much here. And that is gonna be it. Goris with the victory here. 3-1. Nicely done. Some close matches, some fun games. Alright. Let me see. If the next players are ready. I think we have one more tonight. So congratulations to Goris for winning that one. Yeah, we got this guy versus Kalaru. If we can get that round up. Yeah, it looks like this guy is confirmed. He is in position now, ready to roll. Let me change up the scoreboards here. Who's attacking, who's on defense? That matters. I need to talk to Dizon about this. I think we need to be able to flip the scoreboard. Right? Because the attacker's not necessarily always going to be on the left side of the lobby. Other than that, I love this thing. This thing's really cool. Alright, Kalaru's ready. This guy's ready. This guy is on offense. He needs to be on the left side. Perfect. It's lined up to where it's worked every time. Which is nice. And we're going to be at 0-0. Let me change the defender weights here. Alright, Kalaru. I'm on Kalaru's team. I'm a foxy boy. Let's get her going. So I am a little caster biased here. Not gonna lie. Le pouvoir des fleurs. Oh man, I should not try to talk in other dialects. I am a Southern American. Spawning in the bottom, the one and only this guy. And his opponent up top, Kalaru. Kalaru-woo. Alright. I'll stop. Alright, I'm gonna put it in chat. No, dude. No woo-woo. $500 penalty. Okay, this is gonna be a good one. This map is so bad for Kalaru. Oh my god. Alright, well, to be fair, if Kalaru can get over here, you know, he's got a chance, but, like, look at this. You know, this guy just expands, grabs these two, and it's gonna be rough for Kalaru to even expand because he's just, like, right in the radius of this base. And, okay, smart move from Kalaru. He knows this. He knows that it is going to be really hard for him to expand on this map. So he's going to go ahead and start that fight. And he could even just straight up go into a containment strategy from here. And no moles this week to try to contest this. Oh my god, Kalaru. Yes. Pulling it back just a little bit. Oh my god, this is so cheesy. I love it. Come on. Alright, there's another Warren. Here we go. How is this guy going to do it? Kalaru's just trying to lock him in right here, right now. He needs more Warrens. That's the only way. He can't build a farm. It's very tempting to build a farm, but you just can't do it. This guy just walking around the turret, that's a little bit rough. You know, I think Kalaru was right in his first spot. He needs a turret right there, or he really could just build one on this edge right here. Did Del just say ooh? Oh my god. Alright, I am 100% biased for Kalaru. We need these wins, man. We're on the same team. But this guy's playing it right. He's just building a ton of squirrels, and this turret is just not in a relevant enough position. This guy gonna go for it, gonna knock that turret out. Now Kalaru's in hot water. Yeah, he built that farm, man. It's so tempting to do it, but I think it was incorrect. Because every little bit of food matters in this sort of situation. Because if you lose tempo just for a second, you just lose the game, as we see here. And you're already playing from 60 food behind from building the mill, right? So building that extra farm on top of it. Now you're 120 bucks behind when you're in a every little unit, every little farm counts. So I think if Kalaru would have positioned that turret a little bit more strangleholdy, and you wouldn't have built that farm, it could have worked. But overall, really good showing of intuition out of this guy, just knowing exactly the correct thing to do in that position. And in the bottom, Kalaru off a loss from a cheese, and up top, this guy, pretty happy he successfully defended there. Oh, I can be a little more fancy here, and this guy changed up commanders on me. There we go. Dude, we got a lot of Kalaru fans in the chat. So I don't think... So since this guy's on offense, like if Kalaru wins, that doesn't negatively affect the Wolf team, really. But if Kalaru loses, that's really bad for the Foxes. And then the other factions have a say in it too. I don't remember the pentagram off memory. Well, I know mine, like the Fox, our priority enemies, the Badger, and then our like secondary enemies, the Boar. Right. So if your one of your enemies is the Wolf, then you want to be rooting for Kalaru here, and if one of your enemies is the Fox, then you want to be rooting for this guy. Premiumbo obviously happy in chat that this guy takes up the victory here. Kalaru with a couple pre-mature lizards here coming out just a little bit fast, so I wasn't paying really close attention to the exact build order, but this guy going for a really fast tier 2. Oh my god, Kalaru! Okay, here he goes. He's gonna come in and finish that off. Losing 3 lizards, though. Feels bad, man. But this guy's gonna have those quick cams, which are really good against lizards in direct engagements, but they are pretty slow. Lizards can run around them, but not the best map in the world for lizards. Like, this guy's kind of nice and tied up here for the 3 bases. There's, unfortunate for Kalaru, there's no backdoor entry over here. He does have the little roundabout way. Like, he can go this way, which is unexpected. You know, this is probably the main attack path in. The farm instead of second MG was a mistake. Yeah, the farm was it, and I think the first MG, I think where Kalaru put it down initially was correct, and I think bringing it back just slightly was also a mistake, because it allowed this guy to kind of wiggle his squirrels around that MG at a period in the game where Kalaru really needed that MG to prevent this guy from getting a good position. But nice attack in here with the lizards from Kalaru, knocks out a couple of those Warrens basically for free, and Kalaru's in a nice spot this game. However, I am a little bit worried about his army comp. If he just continues to push this lizard issue, you know, once this guy gets up to 4 cams, like, Squirrel Cam is just gonna wreck, you know, wreck-a-roni in the pepperoni, a straight lizard comp. And yeah, Claro with the quick fox here. I love it. This guy needs to get that scout out. This guy's got a little bit of anti-fox repellent spray in the deck. You know, he's got the snakes, he's got the cams. Nice scout here from this guy. He knows the fox is on the way. And how does he decide to deal with this? A lot of times we'll see people throw down a lot of farms. But no, I think instead this guy is just going to try to put together a push before the fox is ready. He's already got some tier 2 here. And this is actually a really risky way to try to deal with this, to be honest. Because if this push doesn't work, or yeah, you get in there and do some damage, but not enough damage, yeah, you really want to eco up. That's what a lot of people end up doing. But to be honest, it's a little bit late, you know? Like, you want to start building... Oh my god, this is going to be devastating. Nice chameleons here to try to defend this lizard run by, and they actually do a good job. Damn, like, this chameleon's just cleaned up 15 lizards. Oh my god. If Claro would have target fired those cams, it would have been a different story there. But now Claro's in a rough spot. He needed to kind of turtle while he was investing in this fox. Instead, he tried to do a cheeky move, which would have worked, like, so good. But this defense isn't bad. The cams fall. There's only a handful of squirrels left here. This guy's commander died during the melee, but he gets back in time. But the fox is here. Claro's a great fox pilot, so I don't see him losing it. But yeah, this runaround attack was great from Claro, but good foresight from this guy, realizing that was a weak point to that sort of thing, keeping the cams in position there. One cam out. This is what we call the cam ambush. It is a tactic to stop foxes. You want to position your chameleons where you think the fox is going to run, and then the cams just ambush the fox and can kill it. It takes two... the math might be a little different on this balance, but general rule is 2 shots from 2 cams and 1 shot from 4 cams will kill a fox. So if you got 4 cams and a cam trap, then the fox just dies immediately. But although Claro got the better start of that engagement, all these squirrels coming out here from this guy, however, Claro does have the skunks to try to deal with these. A couple farms going down, and this is becoming a relatively scrappy game. Both sides here really kind of taking some blows and also dealing out some punches. Another chameleon out of the shadows tries to knock down Kasha, but Kasha prevails. Claro needs to heal her up, put her in the water, put her into territory. There we go. Get that expedited healing. Yeah, and another way to deal with the fox is to just zerg it with so much tier 1. It's like, yeah, the fox one-shots tier 1, but it's overkill, right? And that's why Claro's got the skunks, though. The skunks deal with the tier 1. And the fox just continues to rack up value here. This guy not able to get his wolf out, which is a shame because the wolf is actually a pretty good answer to the fox as well. Because the wolf not only makes everything attack so much faster, but it also makes it move faster. And that is the big advantage that the fox has, is that it's faster than everybody else. So you put everybody on the same level, and all of a sudden it gets a lot easier to track the fox down. Oh, wait. I have the, yeah, I just noticed I messed up the score there. I apologize. This guy won the first game. Claro just won that game, so now the scoreboard is right. I like in chat. Why does Claro have a point, Premium? Alright, because Del is a Fox team player. Oh, God. The cambush, yeah. Dude, why did I never think of that? The cambush. Yeah, sorry, I had the wrong score up there, guys. But now it's tied up 1-1 here. We'll see how these players want to navigate game 3. As we spawn in on the bottom right, we've got Claro. And over to the top left, this guy. Claro doubling down on this siege tactic here. Going for 2 defense and the ferret. Meanwhile, this guy changing pace. Oh, this is the kind of thing I love, man. See, this guy adjusted to the lizards with the toads when Kalaru knew, alright, I showed toads, this guy, or I'm sorry, I showed lizards. I did really well with the lizards, therefore this guy might do something like toads the next game. Let me tech out of lizards. Like, I love that kind of stuff. However, you know, I'm not so sold on this strategy for Kalaru here, to be perfectly honest. Like, he's got the snake, which is always nice against all of it. You know, it's kind of a tier 2 meta we're in anyways. But you know your opponent has to take their representative tier 3. But the Fox is already a siege unit. Like, there was this, like, classic... You know, it's a deck that I used a lot and Misha used a lot back in the day. It's something like Squirrel, Lizard, Ferret, Falcon, Fox, Turret. But you kind of already have a poker, right, in the Fox. And the Ferret's like the budget Fox, you know? So I'm not so sure if the siege tactic is as good nowadays as just like having a strong pound-for-pound deck that uses the Fox as like the icing on the cake. But we'll see. I'd love to see Kalaru make it work, man. Ferrets are one of my favorite unit. And I just feel like they're hard to use right now at a high level. Consistently. You know, you might get some good map gen for them. Or you might catch an opponent off guard and unprepared, but, you know, the Ferrets have not been a unit we see in the top echelon of tournaments, or really with a lot of representation. Recently. It'd be kind of fun. It'd be so much work, but it'd be interesting if somebody was really keeping stats on that kind of thing. You know, like, alright, in the TnT Championship 2020.2, you know, what percentage of units were picked? I think we do have something built in. I'm not sure if it's kept up to date or if it's just kind of like an autopilot thing. And I think it was back when Andy Schatz was a bit more involved and we were really like tweaking with balance. There's like a stat where you can see how many games units were picked in and what percentage of games did they win. You know, it would be two different stats, right? Like, that'd be really cool to see on like on one of these events, you know. But again, it's just like such a monumental amount of work. It actually wouldn't be bad if you just literally had every replay file. Like, every replay file of the entire event. I'm sure with, like, a Python script, you could go through the XML pretty quickly. This guy with the big push in, though. I'm just ranting on, not even commenting on this game. I apologize, guys. And so far, this is working. It looks like it was a really greedy economic opening from both sides. But this guy's pushing in with the skunks, and so far, so good. Trying to defend with snakes is Kalaru, but already losing several farms here. This push is a monumental success. This guy does end up losing the skunks at the end, but dealt so much damage. Like, it's totally fine here. Oh my god, this guy getting spicy. Got a wolf on the way. Let's see if Kalaru sees it. And Kalaru's building up to the arty. Trying to have an arty party here. Even grab this other base. I think this is where he really needs the arty. And I don't hate this artillery. It is a big investment. But it does a pretty good job of defending all this real estate down here. You know, there's no extra attack path in. And this is so sneaky, man. This guy is not going to expect it. There's no reason to. It's a shame that he hasn't scouted up there, because he might just be waiting around, you know, and be like, you know, I haven't scouted the map yet. Let me see what's going on, and just randomly find it. But if he had already scouted up there, then he would have very little incentive to actually go re-scout that area. He would just think, okay, that's my third base. I'll take it when I get around to it. And imagine he doesn't go look, and then Kalaru sucks that base dry, right? no resources left, or even like halfway. And that's exactly what we're doing. If Kalaru continues to have this base unscouted, that is huge. And he only goes for half saturation too. This is a big risk. Finally, this guy scouts it, and this guy should be able to knock it out just instantly. I don't think Kalaru can even really contest it. He's got so much invested in defense here. You know, his army cannot compete, and the wolf is already out. This guy's army just looks monstrous. Sorry, my brain is turning off a little bit. We've got the my batteries die after 2 hours, guys. I got to go back in the caster hyperbolic time chamber. I just sit in there in between tooth and tail casts and recharge, and then the gentleman opens the door. All the gas comes out, you know. I'm thawed out. I cast for 2 hours and I go back in. Alright, so many falcons here. All these mines, all these artillery are null and void. And buffed up as well by the wolf. This guy crushing through. Let's see if Kalaru can hold. He's actually starting to clean this up. The artillery doing a good job of knocking out all of the squirrels on the ground for the snakes to get in, poison down those falcons. And Kalaru with a nice hold. Keep in mind, Kalaru has had a pretty good economic lead most game. But man, I really like this composition better from this guy. You know, Skunk, Falcon, Wolf is hard to argue with. Lots of snakes here from Kalaru, and he'll definitely do his diligence here to target down the appropriate targets with those. But he needs something else, and he just doesn't really have it in this deck. You know, he needs to get his Fox out, but that's a big investment. Finally, he's going to go for it. And although the gentleman has taken some decent engagements, I think one thing that is really keeping Kalaru in this game is how long he had that economic lead. And the Fox is almost being built. I think Kalaru is trying to be cognitive of his farm or his food count here. Ideally, you just want to hit 180 food right when that Fox warren gets done. Kalaru really on point with that. And this is a rough game, man. It's rough for this guy to attack in, although he does have a very air-heavy army. These mines, this artillery is still no joke. And the Fox is probably really how Kalaru wins this in the long run, right? Like, he just moves in with the Fox and just starts picking off units one by one. And eventually, maybe he can just poke around the corners. Going up to 8 snakes here. And this is so much money wrapped up in defense. You know, 17 mines, 2 artillery. What's that? 340 plus 360? What is that? 700? 700 food? Out of a total of 1,600? So about half army comp in defensive structures here for Kalaru, which makes it really difficult to go on the offense. We see that cam trap being set up. Kalaru is aware of it, though. He's got to try to wiggle around. It's a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole here between the cams and the Fox, right? This guy's got to think, all right, the Fox is probably going to attack it here, so I'll move my chameleons there to intercept. And Kalaru's got to think, all right, well, he thinks I'm probably going to go this way, so I need to run around the other side. Yeah, I think Claro's just got to start playing the grind game here. He's got to just poke around. And slowly over time, those tier 1 pickoffs will turn into a significant lead. Claro also being careful, both players being careful here of starvation. Leaving a few farms up for that phase of the game. Because this is starting to look stalematey. The problem is neither player wants to commit in, because the next big attack is going to decide who wins. This guy doesn't want to attack because he knows Claro's got so much wrapped up in defense. You know, that one attack that started at first going pretty well for this guy, but then became a decisive win for Claro. Kind of taught him that. And then at the same time, Claro doesn't really want to hard engage because this guy's got a better army on the ground. You know, Claro really needs a fight in his minefield. He needs a fight with the artillery cannon coverage. And he's got the ferrets on the way. That's a really good tool to help with this poke. Starting to bring these artillery cannons more and more forward. This guy scouts an additional cabin over the side. It's going to be a nice option in the starvation game. And buckle up, man. Get some popcorn. Yeah, these ferrets can poke a little bit more effectively sometimes than the fox. Especially nice that they can hit the warrens. And once you have this many units, like, this guy really needs to ferret dance with the skunks, if anything else. And again, trying to use these cam ambushes and bring these toads in, but doesn't get a lot of value out of that. I think Claro is slowly going to win this, man. He's just getting a ton of free damage from all of this poking, and this guy realizes that he's going to move in, losing his commander to the snake poison here, and his army is just getting completely shelled. The falcons are trying to carry it in the air, but so much snake poison. Foxes eat falcons for breakfast. This guy's army wipes, and GG. A nice victory there for Claro. That just means one more victory for Team Fox to take another win. Really patient game from both sides, man. And, you know, this guy kind of had to pull the trigger, unfortunately. Because if he didn't, he just would have got poked to death. Spawning on the bottom, we've got Claro. And up top, this guy. Both players back to more traditional builds. See, this is what I was kind of touching on in the early game last time with Claro's deck. Like, last game, it was a strategy that really comes to mind with the Fox. You know, really all in on that poke and prod style. Which did end up working out for him. But this is a radically different way to play the Fox, you know. If you just cover up the Fox slot, like the rest of Claro's deck is just a solid deck, you know. Just a good deck. And then you just throw the Fox on top of it. Bada bing, bada boom. Ooh, a 5-farm triple coming out from Claro. Why pigeons? He's just going to sell it off anyways. This is a little dangerous, though. Yeah, okay. I like the 7-farm Warren in response to the sell. He's just trying to play some mind games with this guy in the early game. Try to wiggle out a little bit of a lead. This guy's not going to be happy. He's getting toyed with. However, is the rush distance small enough where this counterattack, where it's like, hey, you forced me to build early Warrens, you know, as you feigned a rush, but now, all of a sudden, I'm rushing. I've got units and you don't. What's up? Is Claro going to have enough to defend? A few squirrels are here, but Claros are starting to pop out as well. This is really where putting down the 1 Warren helped. I think he needed the 6-farm Warren, though, not the 7. This is why you got to be really careful on trying to do stuff like this against high-level players, you know. Guys like this guy are experienced enough to know the math on this kind of stuff very precisely. And this guy's just doubling down. He smells blood in the water. He thinks he's dealt enough damage to Claro there where he can just follow up and win the game. Now, he did take out a pig, and he probably traded a little bit favorably, you know? Like, maybe killed off an extra squirrel or two than what he lost. Claro sees this big attack coming in and is going to hope that he can get the skunks out in time. The skunks are still very far away, about 25 seconds or so. Is it going to be here in time? This is the window this guy was looking for. We might just see a quick 2-2, which would kind of be hype because, you know, it's always cool going to the 5th match at a best of 5. But Claro definitely in a not like this position, man. This is totally his fault. You know, he tried to dunk on this guy in the early game, and this guy's like, come on, man. Come on, brother. And although Claro does hold, honestly, at this level, man, that is crippling damage. Like, Claro coming back from this is nearly impossible. Really, what he's got to do is just get insane value out of these skunks. And it could happen because this guy is only on pure squirrel, but, I mean, yeah, skunks counter squirrels, but counters don't matter when numbers are too different, you know? Like, look at that. Just bam, mass squirrel killing that skunk, right? I think Claro should have waited for the extra skunk. I get why he didn't. Every second really matters when you're doing that desperation counter attack. That second skunk would have made a big difference though, but this guy just showing you why he is a tooth and tail champion. You know, taking the slightest of edges and sharpening it into a lethal knife. This guy's just gonna come in. He sees Claro is still really behind. He's probably a bit hesitant because he's just got pure squirrel against skunk, and the skunks are a lot better on defense. But yeah, this guy he's just about to pull the trigger. He's just waiting a little bit longer. Claro actually coming out here with these skunks again, trying to get something done. Claro knows this is probably not going to work, but maybe it will, and you got to do something. Like, the loss is 100% if you don't, you know, make a 3-point shot or something. So that's what Claro was going for there. And this guy takes it. We are in the decider match here, ladies and gentlemen. Great way to end the show tonight. Again, everybody, I know a lot of people catch the VODs and stuff. Please take a look at my Tooth and Tails events section underneath the stream you're watching right now. You can see the link to the Discord. Hop on in there. The gentleman has been doing so much good work as far as stats and statistics and keeping you up to date with where to find all the matches. There's links to all the other streamers. There's announcements. You know, join the Discord. All you got to do is join the Discord and make sure you just leave it to where if, you know, he doesn't add everyone announcement, you get the ping and you'll know when we're going live. That's all there is to it, man. I'm always here 6 to 8 on Friday nights Eastern, but there is a lot more coverage than that. Again, this is episode 11, right? I've casted episode 1 and 11. It's kind of cool. I wonder if we're going to have 10 episodes every week. That would be a nice even number. All right, guys, on the left, you got this guy, and spawning on the right, Claro, in the decider match here, and oof. This is not looking good for my foxy brethren. He does only have lizards against Squirrel Toad. And 9 times out of 10, taking only lizards, it doesn't really matter. It's fine. You know, it'll get the job done. But that 1 time out of 10 is when your opponent goes Squirrel Toad. Then you really wish you would have taken Squizzard. And Claro decided only to take the lizards here so he could be a little bit more liberal in his tier 2 slots. He's gotten all 3. He wanted to squeeze those ferrets in. And he also wants the turrets. Now, the one thing that is kind of nice for Claro here is this could be a damn good map for a turret ferret siege. You know, he can expand his territory this way, start putting these turrets up here on the high ground. He can come down here, grab the space, start building turrets over here. But hang on, we've got a lot of early game shenanigans here. I was just kind of ranting too much to see who really initiated this, but I believe it's this guy. And again, another problem with the lizards is they're not as great on defense. You really want to be on offense with these. But Claro doesn't have that option. However, he's still going to clean this up. And so far, this is a victory for Claro. I believe what happened there while I was rambling on, not paying attention, was this guy went for a 5-farm double. Claro responded with a 6-farm double. If you hold that off, the player with the 6-farm double has a slight lead. And Claro's looking for a counterattack here. This guy is not at home to micro. Gonna pick up the lizard, just gonna go for the Warren. A little bit greedy there. I think he could have got the pig if he committed to the pig instead, but getting the Warren sets you up for continued aggression. And Claro is at home with the lizards, man. He is a very, very good lizard player. And he's thinking about coming in. And this guy, I don't know if he was minimized or something for a second. His commander was standing there for a while. And Claro took advantage of it. Sneaking in for a pig. That's exactly what he needed here. Alright, and here comes Claro from the other side. This guy, again, his commander just kind of standing still for the moment. And Claro is going to come in and grab a Warren. And he's just going to keep poking and prodding. So far, this is going really nicely for Claro, but however, here come the toads. And Claro doesn't have a really good answer for that. The toads actually do very nicely against like 3 of the things in Claro's decks. You know, the lizards, the chameleons, the turrets. And where is Claro going to take this game from here? You know, this guy's taking some punches. But he's not out yet, and I like this from this guy a lot. Just taking that expansion. You know, sneak out a farm or two. That's how he can try to become back at parity in this match. And here are the turrets. Now, I want to see Claro take a mill. He wants that expanded territory here, so he can throw down the MGs. In really painful locations for this guy. Yeah, he decides he's going to go up top with it. Oh, and I like moving these toads out. This is a nice way to kind of defend both areas at once. Wait, is he just going to YOLO these toads in here? Going for the tier 2 Warren? Oh my god, he gets it. Damn! I think that was pretty cost efficient, to be honest, too. And nice tempo hit. I wonder if Claro, he's probably not even going to bother to rebuild that Warren. It's a shame for him that the other ferret wasn't done. Because then it's like, whatever. If you lose the ferrets anyways, it's really, you really shouldn't lose your ferrets, you know. If you lose your ferrets, bad stuff is happening. Claro! Dude, this guy, he's just being a spicy man, alright? That was not efficient. Oh my god. Toad harassment. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd seen it all. Ooh, needs to be careful of that falcon. These squirrels do have the road. That's going to make them move very quickly. Gets the falcon. Here comes this guy who wants to crash through with these toads. Eliminates one of those farms very, very quickly. This mill is helping tank, and here come the chameleons to defend. Claro really just needs to keep his juicy tier 2 units alive. Lizards are the fodder here. They are born to die. But this guy just rocking Squirrel Toad, man. And that was a big success. And unfortunately, this ferret just really not paying for itself here. You know, Claro wanted to utilize this ferret probably in conjunction with some turrets to put the pressure on this guy. But this guy just never gave him the chance. He's just rushing in here, man. Look at this Squirrel Toad attack. Is it going to be enough? Even if it isn't, this guy's got 3 farms on the expansion. This is starting to look dismal for Kalaru. And unfortunately, man, this is why it is so risky to just run lizards. If Kalaru had squirrels as well, he could build like 3 lizards, right? Everything else is squirrels. And then when this guy has like 6 or 9 or 12 toads, you just let him run those into your like 3 lizards. But Kalaru's not giving up just yet. This is an important match. He's got a couple tier 2 left here. He's looking for a way to knock out this second base of his opponent. If he can do that, maybe he can start clawing his way back in. This guy, again, just resorting to the very simple but very strong, just pure squirrel comp. You know, the bang for your buck that you get with squirrels is awesome. And I think Kalaru's run out of gas here. This guy gonna take the win of a very close match. So congratulations to him. And guys, that is it for the show tonight. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in. I appreciate it, guys. And again, keep your eyes peeled on that Discord. The @everyone pings are not very often. I do recommend keeping that on. Because the gentleman will just ping when somebody's going live for one of the events. And that is it, everybody. Again, all the relevant links for this event are underneath the stream. So everything you need to know is right there. And thanks everybody for tuning in. That should be it. Hang on one second. This guy's confusing me in Discord. I just want to make sure. Yeah, everything is cool. Alright guys, I appreciate you tuning in as always. We will see you all next time. Keep your eyes peeled on the Discord for who will be streaming next. I will be back here, same time, same place next week. Take care, everybody.